Major terror attack in Kenya over the course of the weekend. The Westgate Mall in an upscale area of Nairobi, Kenya, was attacked by between 10 and 15 militants over the course of the weekend. They stormed the mall in multiple areas, killing dozens. Now, it did not take long for a terrorist organization to claim credit for the attack. The Al-Shabaab terrorist organization from neighboring Somalia claiming it. The Kenya's Chief of Defense Forces did come out very soon after the attack saying, "We have an idea who these people are, and they are clearly a multinational collection from all over the world." And in fact, while the vast majority of Al-Shabaab's members do come from Somalia, we believe that between 8 and 10 of the members attacking the mall in Kenya were actually from Western states and one from Syria. Now, this is obviously very early information. It could turn out to not be true. We're providing you with the information that we have now. So, as I said, a great very high death toll in this attack, somewhere between 62 and 69 dead, depending on the source, depending on if you're talking to the Interior Minister of Kenya or the UN. But in either case, an absolutely horrific attack, leaving not just those around 60 to 70 dead, but also 200 injured as well. Here you're seeing some footage from the area of the mall, around the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi. Now, it's been a little bit over 48 hours since the attack, which happened around noon on Saturday. Steadily, the police and soldiers from Kenya have moved from area to area in the mall, freeing hostages, taking out the militants when they can, or imprisoning them as well. David Kimayo, the police inspector general of Kenya, says now that they have taken control of all the floors. "We're not here to feed the attackers with pastries, but to finish and punish them." So obviously strong words coming from the police inspector there. Now, some information is coming out now that there's been a little bit of time to confirm some of the dead, and we have information about where they came from. Now, obviously, this is a very upscale mall, people from all over the world shopping at it, and we now know that Kenyans and foreigners were among those confirmed dead, including British, French, Canadians, Indians, a Ghanaian, a South African, and a Chinese woman. And the UK Foreign Office said Monday it has confirmed the deaths of 4 British nationals as well. And so by any measure, an absolutely horrific terrorist attack. And while it seems like Kenya will be successful in the near future in rounding up or killing the remaining militants in the mall, we do want to provide you with a little bit of information about the terrorist organization which is taking credit for this attack, because it's not one that we have a great deal of information about, at least in the United States. So Al-Shabaab is a terrorist organization that came out, sort of a splinter militant wing of the Somalia Council of Islamic Courts around 2006. Now, obviously, Somalia has had a great deal of military and political turmoil over the course of the past 25 years or so, and different rival groups have been jockeying for position in that chaos. And so between 2006 and 2009, Al-Shabaab was successful in recruiting a large number of fighters. Some believe that their numbers are over 2,000, and they took control of a great deal of territory in Kenya, including very lucrative port cities and parts of the capital city of Mogadishu. Now, while they were able to consolidate their power leading up to around 2009, in 2010 and 2011, the UN, in conjunction with the Africa Union and forces from Kenya, which we'll come back to, were able to push the militants out of areas of Mogadishu and some of the other cities that they had taken control of. And so while their power rose from 2006 to 2009, in recent years they have splintered, they've suffered from infighting, arguments about exactly what their mission should be as an organization. And so that has led them into a position that many see as desperate, and that's why we believe they attacked this mall in Kenya. Now, they did not engage in terrorist attacks of this sort in Kenya in previous years, although they did carry out a number of successful terror attacks. Early on, they pitched themselves as a group that was going to protect everyday Somalians from Ethiopian forces in the country. And it's been difficult in the intervening years to maintain that narrative, as even Al-Qaeda has grown a bit concerned with the tactics of the group as they continue to target civilians. And so even Al-Qaeda is sort of stepping back and saying that they don't want to formally ally with them. Although that's one of the reasons we're focusing on this, because it's easy in Western countries to just lump all of these groups together. They do differ in terms of their tactics. Now, Al-Shabaab took to Twitter. There were a number of fake Twitter accounts, but there was one that is believed to be confirmed to be representing Al-Shabaab. And they said that the attack against the mall in Kenya was intended to be sort of a revenge strike for Kenyan attacks against civilians in Somalia. Now, exactly how true that is We don't know. Now, thankfully, there's a very interesting article on Think Progress right now by a journalist talking about the history of al-Shabaab and why he believes they finally did conduct an attack against a soft target in Kenya. And he believes that because of the infighting in the group, the fact that many of their leadership have been killed or have fled Somalia in the last few years, they felt the need to re-galvanize support amongst everyday Somalians. And so basically the idea is that if they attack Kenya in this way, make it clear that they're the ones who did it, and if Kenya were to retaliate with a military strike against their country, then that could lead everyday Somalians to once again support the group. And so that journalist, at least on Think Progress, is saying it's very important for Kenya to exercise caution, to use the rule of law and follow normal procedures rather than simply attacking out of revenge or something like that, which could lead to further terrorist attacks in the future. Now, he summed it up in a great way. So we're going to read a quote from his Think Progress article. He said, "The Westgate attack is the latest sign of the group's weakness. It was a desperate, high-risk gamble by Shabaab to reverse its prospects. If the deadly attack succeeds in prompting vigilante violence by Kenyan citizens or heavy-handed government reactions against Somali residents, Shabaab stands a chance of recasting itself as the vanguard militia protecting Somalis against external enemies. It desperately needs to reframe the conflict in Somalia as Somalis versus the foreigners, not as Somalis who seek peace and a return to normalcy versus a toxic jihadi movement." Now, I am far from an expert on internal Somali politics, and I don't know what the future holds for that country as al-Shabaab continues to fragment. Many believe that because of the loss of some of their leadership positions, some of their more raw recruits, some of whom even come from Western countries, including the U.S., are starting to take up leadership roles, and we can expect that because of their lack of experience, it will be somewhat chaotic. Now, I hope that Kenya, perhaps in conjunction with responsible military and political officials in Somalia, are able to